Evening, my friends. This is Paul, and here I'm going to do what I call the video game rush hour. Now, I was going to talk to my girlfriend after I had finished taking a major crash after work. When I mean crash, I mean taking a nap, in case you're confusing it with another definition. But she's busy, so I'm doing this to sort of pass the time, and I've been planning on doing it anyway, but work and girlfriend and preparations for the Rainbow Youth Conference just keep getting in the way of this channel. Anyway, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to sit in front of my webcam for however long it takes for her and just talk about as many video games as I can in that time period. But I'm going to release them separately so that you don't get super bored of me blabbing about one video or a bunch of video games for too long, and I'll just release them in due time whenever I feel like it. So I'm going to start out with a game that I'm quite honestly shocked that I only just recently beat it. And that's the original Super Mario Brothers. Yes, you heard me. The one on the NES with a boing and boing and bip. Oh my gosh, that has to be like, okay, that bip in the theme song is kind of like if you were in a band and someone breaks a string while they're playing and then the band just says, oh, let's just cover up the mistake and keep playing anyway. Just my random observation. So, Super Mario Bros. Was actually the very first video game I ever played. And to this day, it still really stands the test of time. Now, if you consider what platformers used to be like, and video games in general, really, they weren't that great. They were mostly single-screened experiences with like a boring old black background, and the tasks you had to do were like, this doesn't even make sense. I mean, take Donkey Kong 3, for example. You got Stanley the Exterminator that's spraying bug spray at a giant gorilla. I mean, what exterminator takes on a gorilla? You can kudos to the Wii viewer for giving me that inspiration. Or Mario Brothers, where you have to knock over a bunch of turtles and crabs that are walking along these little platform thingies. So Super Mario Brothers comes out, and you've got a screen that actually scrolls with Mario. You've got precision jumping controls, like you can press the button to jump, then you can hold it down to jump higher, then you can use the control stick to like slightly change the direction of Mario's jump, use the B button to go faster, and use that to make a longer jump, but then you might be more risky. That's a huge amount of strategy for an NES launch title. And I can think of very few games that haven't taken inspiration from this gem, if any. But the thing is, while it's all fine and dandy, and obviously there are going to be people that no matter what I have to say in this review are going to say that Super Mario Bros. Is a classic, I recently rebeat it on the 3DS Virtual Console, and I'm pretty sure that's the only way I would have beaten it, because once you get to World 8, it's just like, what the heck, Nintendo? Did you just, like, take a bunch of scraps of unused sprites from a recycling bin and just decided to sprinkle it in like you're making a birthday cake out of this game or something? Dang it, how the heck are you supposed to beat this without a strategy guide? Well, I guess that's what they have Nintendo Power for. Anyway, the game, while at the time it was great, when you hold it under greater scrutiny with the lens of time, I mean, it was released in 1985 and it is now 2017. Speaking of which, I have now been filming for over a year. Too bad I didn't do a commemoration video for that. Bummer. Okay, so getting back to the game. First off, I'd like to say the Circle Pad Pro doesn't quite get the job done on this game. Now, I've played this game on a GameCube controller and a Wii Remote. Both of those work fine. But for Super Mario Bros., you really should stick to the control pad. In addition, I found the Restore Point feature that pretty much every 3DS Virtual Console game has to be humongously helpful. In fact, I've been saying Nintendo should do that for years. And even though they haven't quite gotten around to it on their mainstream games, at least they do it on the Virtual Console, where you can literally pause the game anywhere, even on a loading screen for that matter, and go back to it whenever you want. So basically, if I'm doing the level and I die mid-level, then I can just go back to the restore point. And in turn, that's what helped me beat some of the more frustrating parts of the game, which there are a lot of. So first off, there's the underwater levels. Now that might be a weird place to start. Like, okay, Paul, if you're going to complain about this game, why the underwater levels? Well, underwater controls are a very touchy subject. The last video game I reviewed was Donkey Kong Country Tropical Freeze, and considering that that game had some of the best underwater controls in a platformer, this game has some of the worst. Not only because you've got invisible currents out of the blue, but Mario's sense of momentum is just occasionally way too, like, slow down! The force of inertia! Wait for Super Mario Galaxy to do that. But the movements of the enemies are so erratic and unpredictable. It's insane. Now, Super Mario Bros. Is a game that, for the most part, when you see an enemy, you automatically know how to prepare. You know how fast a Goomba is going to go. You know the physics of a Koopa shell. But then the bloopers and the Cheep Cheeps, not only do they appear in different arrangements, but the bloopers, they're kind of just like, whoop! Oh, wait a sec, why is he going down? He should be going up. Okay, I know I'm freaking out a lot in this video, and I shouldn't be because I'm usually calm and collected. But that's because a lot of people refuse to acknowledge a game's flaws just because it happened to break ground when it was released. Kind of like how no one is willing to see how, actually, the original Legend of Zelda was a pretty terrible game. But I haven't beaten it yet, so I'm not going to review it. Super Mario Bros. Also suffered from a lack of a true ending. Now, the reason why I say that is because you could technically say that you can beat the game 16 times, 8 castles, and then you're asked if you want to do the second quest, which basically changes the Goombas into Buzzy Beetles. But the thing is, the game doesn't have a credit sequence. And as a result, why didn't they make it so that you went through a whole bunch of levels, then you did a castle? I mean, why is it that Mario goes through all that trouble to get into the castle, break in, jump past Bowser, of which I always had trouble with that, even in the NES era, and then Toad just says, oh, well, you gotta go to another castle. It's like, excuse me? What exactly is Mario using to find these castles anyway? Is he looking at a roadmap, or is someone just giving him misinformation? And then by the time you finally do get the princess, she just says, hey, you want to go through all of that again? As if this game is just one giant Groundhog Day. It's really messed up, and I really think Nintendo should just screw the formula of beating Bowser many times and just build up to a dramatic climax instead of dragging us on like that. Especially when you bring in a fire flower and you toss them at Bowser and you realize he's just an imposter more than half of the time. So, what actually is good about this game, you might be wondering? Because you seem awfully critical about a game that's a masterpiece. Well, I could say that the power-ups are really good, but then when you lose them, you revert back to itty-bitty Mario, instead of, like, reverting from Fire Mario to Super Mario. I could say that there's not enough power stars. The extra lives are pretty much useless when you play it on the 3DS Virtual Console. The castles are just insanely frustrating in every imaginable way, and they should never have existed. And overall, after you've seen one level, you've pretty much seen them all. You just get tougher enemies, tougher jumps, and all these secrets the game boasted about, they're mostly just more coins. And they're not really game-breaking because you have to beat the level by getting to the end of it anyway. So yeah, you could say the test of time has not done well on Super Mario Bros. And I'm probably going to get like a ton of dislikes for this video. But hey, that's my opinion. Take it or leave it. Maybe if you want to enjoy the game, go for it. It's like cheap enough. You can get it for like $5 on the 3DS and possibly Wii U eShop. And especially on the Wii U, if you can get the original manual, that's super awesome. But for now, I'm just going to say only get it because it's cheap. Because Mario has definitely improved since then, and you're going to want to see what he's been up to. So thank you very much for watching my review rant. And until next time, keep the faith, stay epic, and God bless.